In our TIFF options, image compression, you can have no compression, and LZW compression is lossless, which means that it's going to save all the data. Zip is lossless, but it isn't always supported by a desktop publishing software. And JPEG is lossy, which means that some data is going to be thrown away. The quality the quality is going to determine how much data can be discarded. Not always the best idea to save for JPEG, especially if you're going to do multiple saves. It will degrade the file. Leave the pixel order radio button at the default, and we can actually, I really do like the LZW, but for this project we're going to select none for the image compression, and we want to, in our layer compression area, make sure discard layers is selected. If you have the option to save transparency, it's not giving that to me. You would want to keep that. Anything that was transparent would now be saved as white if we can't select that, but I don't think that we had anything that was transparent. So now click OK. Something that I'm not entirely happy with this is that they did not deal with the idea that we should have actually been taking all of this and turning it from RGB into CMYK if it was going to go to a printing company. I know that gets covered later in the book, but as you're well aware from what we've done with Illustrator, which is primarily meant for printing, we should have a CMYK. Now, with Photoshop, a lot of the filters do not work when you're working in CMYK. They only work when you're dealing in RGB, and then you have to convert the file over from an RGB file to a CMYK file so that you can send it off to a printing company. And you want to do that. That's something you do in-house rather than allowing the printing company to do it, because there are color shifts, which we will cover later in the book. In order for this to be included as a CD insert, the artwork would need to be about half the size of the album artwork. So we are going to go into image size. Now remember, we're still in the PSD file because that TIFF was saved out as a copy. So image size, and make sure that you have resample selected. We're working in inches. We want to change the size of this to a 4 3/4 inch square plus an 1/8 inch bleed. So we need to have a 5 inch square. So we're going to change our width and our height, to which we should have had linked. So let me change both of those to a 5 inch square. We still need that 300 resolution, and I'm looking to see if there's a reduction. We're defaulting off to bicubic sharpener, so we'll say OK for that. And if we go in now and view guides, let's see, show our guides, you're going to see that the guides are way out because that was for the other size. So let's go back into view and let's clear guides, and we're going into view and we're going to say new guide layout. Again, we are not checking either columns or rows. We do, however, want to have margins. We're going to make sure that all 4 of those are set for an 1/8 inch, and click to say OK to add that 1/8 inch bleed margin line. Go back into view, new guide layout again, and this time change all of those to a 1/4 inch. And I wish there was some way to chain these, but use your tab key. and that's going to put in that second set of margins, and say OK, and then zoom so that you can see your artwork. Picking up your move tool if you don't have it already, we're going to auto select your layers so that you can click and move the layers around to change the positioning. The text is outside of the safe areas and we need to position those back in. That happens because on scaling this, it scales the margins down as well, so we have to reposition everything to make sure it still fits, making sure everything is correct. And if you have anything that's not correct, you can go in and Control T to get into your transform, free transform, and you can click and resize to make sure everything is properly located. Enter or click the check mark to confirm the change, and then File and do another Save As, and we're going to do another TIFF, but this one you're going to save as with the insert added to the name. And then we are not exporting out the layers, and we're saving as a copy. Go ahead and save. Check to make sure everything is what you had before. Say OK to that. And then go to File, Revert, because we did not do a file save. We only did a save as. Now we are back to the original 10¼ inch file size. One more save that we're going to do is to save the JPEG for digital. And so for that, we're going to go in again to image size. We want the resample again to be checked. Change the width field to 3000, but we're going to go into this as pixels. And we're making it 3000 pixels, resampling it, saying OK to that change, File, Save As. This time we're saving out as the JPEG, and insert in there and add digital. We're going to say save, and in the options box that comes out, make sure that you have a high setting, which is an 8 for quality, and you're going to say OK to that. And you can close your file out now without saving, because that will revert it over back to what it was, or if you're worried about it, go back up to File and Revert again. No to the saving the changes. And so we have several files that you're going to want to turn in. Let me get into my folder. My suggestion to you is to take the items that you're sending to me, and I would zip them. So take your CD artwork for the album, which is the TIFF file, your digital JPEG, because if you look at what the file sizes are on that TIFF is 27 megs. This one, your JPEG, is 747K, which is not bad. The insert is 6 megs. That was all we need. The CD artwork is a whopping 85 megabytes. So let's leave that one off. I want to see your TIFF file, your JPEG, and the TIFF of the insert. But take those 3 files, please. Let's take those 3 files and let's go into share and let's zip those. And you should be able to come out with a file that, let's see what size that is. It's a 12 megabyte file, which really isn't that bad, so you should be fine with that, and then submit that. That will help a lot. This one you could actually send that, but at that file size, and that's one of the problems with working in Photoshop, is that our file sizes can get really large. So let's if you have problems, of course, take screenshots, send them to me, or I can work with you. But I'm going to have to be grading off of what your final product is.